I'm going to open with this. It's from a blog by a lady called Kitty Jones. The blog, as you can see, deals with public interest issues, policy, equality, human rights and social science. The headline you can read: Woman was too scared to leave job centre during a heart attack as she feared being sanctioned. Let's just put a name and a face to that as well. You may not be able to see totally, but there is the lady, and there's the acknowledgement to Kitty Jones, whom I'm quoting from. The lady is Selina Hanna. The picture I'm going to use on a poster I'm taking out for a Labour event in Beccles on the 26th of May will actually be in colour, but it's from the same article. Just let me summarise, I'll read quickly, I'm sure you're reading as well. A woman who suffered a heart attack during a job centre in-work progression interview had said she was too scared to get up and leave to get medical help, as she was afraid of losing her benefits. Just think about that for a sec. Particularly scared and losing her benefits. Think about that from this woman's perspective. Selina Hanna, who works part-time, said that the attack happened during her appointment, but was ignored by the callous job centre interview. A little bit of a mistake in my reading verbatim there. I do apologise. I hope that the media aren't going to jump on me, as they do just about everybody, and say Tony Linford fluffs the figures. Anyway, back to something serious. Yep. That happened during her interview. Let me remind you also of a few little details about Hanna. Hannah's a mum of 4, as you can see. She has 2 grandsons. Bear in mind she is working, but 16 hours or less. Had been sanctioned. If she had been sanctioned, she would have had nothing left to provide for her basic needs. I want to quote directly from Hanna. I'm sure you can read it as well. After the event, Selina is now recovering at home, but struggling for breath and feels constantly weak. She said, I quote, "I was just dreading getting sanctioned. I would not be able to afford to live if that happened. So pain or no pain, I had to endure that meeting." I'm going to make a comment on that in a minute. It was unbelievable how cruel the sanctions scheme can be to people like me. It's almost like they are trained to be unfeeling. Is this what Britain is coming to these days under a Tory government? At the time of her heart attack, she was working in a chip shop, as we say. She was in receipt of JSA. Right, just going to leave this focused up here anyway, but just while I speak a little bit longer, okay? You might want to just read that from the National Audit Office as well. Saying, of course, that the sanctions actually cost more to actually employ than they actually say, but that doesn't bother the government. I want just to add a personal thing on here. I had a heart attack. It was nearly 4 years ago now. I was saved at Papworth Hospital by them inserting things called cardiac stents. Let me just read a little bit on here about that. Yeah, she was diagnosed and she spent 3 days in hospital where the doctors inserted 3 more stents. Don't want to get incredibly medical or technical for anybody, but the stent is kind of like an umbrella that opens up in the veins or arteries or whatever in your heart and allows the blood flow. If the blood doesn't flow, you'll die. I had 1 cardiac stent inserted immediately at Papworth Hospital. I would have died without that stent. I've subsequently, as everybody knows, had cardiac bypass surgery. So there's this woman being virtually denied the ability to leave that appointment because she's scared to death of losing the means to survive, and she is working, and her access to medical help is delayed. Literally, had my particular medical procedure been delayed much longer, I would have died. I was in a coma for at least 24 hours plus after the stent was put in. I had an internal aortic pump keeping my heart going. I was wired up to so many machines it was unbelievable. I woke up almost in a daze through all the drugs I was being given. I also have insulin-dependent diabetes. I suffer from mental illness, and I have a condition called Crohn's disease. So just to get that across to you people, the policy of conscious cruelty is not saving the government any money, so they still pursue it with the likes of Selina, who, by the way, is working, but this could have killed her. When you see the television and you watch all of your benefits porn, poverty porn, I bet you don't see that. I bet there won't be one programme, anything like that, on the television. Undoubtedly, as we run up to the election, you'll get more reruns of Benefit Street, you'll get more poverty porn, because people love it, don't they? It sells newspapers, doesn't it? It makes TV programmes, where this report says, the report said that withholding benefits, which is now very commonplace, please read that, is now very commonplace, plunges claimants into hardship, hunger and depression. It also seriously jeopardises their health, since sanctions leave people without the means to meet the cost of food, fuel and often shelter. Read the last line with me. And these are fundamental survival needs. If you have mental health problems, it often leads to people taking their own lives. Get out there, folks, please. Vote Labour, obviously. Get out on street or door-knocking events for Labour. Get out there, and please, when the poverty porn comes, as inevitably it will, remember my story, Anthony Linford, and remember Selina Hanna's story. My thanks to Kitty Jones, by the way, who writes this regular blog. Thank you, and have a great afternoon.